develop a kind of understanding that we think on similar planes. So it's a real pleasure for me, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to introduce what we're going to do for the first half. We're going to have Jackee present, and then we're going to have a break, and then we're going to have a section afterwards called Ask Jackee. And that's a section where you can have any question within reason. Yes, you can ask Jackee about your own personal circumstances. There may be some mini life coaching going on. Just allow us to take that. So we're going to have Jackee do a presentation, and then after the second half, we are going to have Jackee come on and do what they get. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's with immense pleasure that I'd like to introduce you to Jackee Holder.
Jacket on. Do the nice little formal bit, and then I can take it off again. Yes, I feel like I've done my bit. So I just want to say, first of all, just really a big thank you, first of all, to everyone who's come out today, because you could be at home. What's on tonight? EastEnders, all kinds of stuff. Do you know what I mean? We could be doing all kinds of other things. It's a real honour that you've decided to come here and be with myself and Ken. And I'd like to say, secondly, thank you to Ken for doing such a great opening. I mean, that's the kind of thing we used to do in our workshops, and it's just so lovely. I had no idea what Ken was going to do to kind of warm up everything, and it just feels like a real luxury and a real privilege to come and have this kind of opening and then, you know, be given a platform to speak. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, and you're doing great work. So over to you and me and Be Your Own Best Life Coach. How many people have seen my new book? Yeah, anybody read it? Oh, yes, this is what I love. Yes, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So, let me just say a few words about it. Be Your Own Best Life Coach. I've been a life coach for maybe about 15 years now. Even when I didn't know I was a life coach, I was a life coach. I came from a background in youth and community work, went into training and development, and a huge part of that work is about communication skills, it's about doing one-to-one work with people, it's about empowering and inspiring people, but really about getting the best out of people. And I don't know if people have heard of Thomas Leonard. He was an American who launched Coach University in America. He was almost like what we consider the founding father of modern day coaching as we know it today. And that was probably about 12 years ago when Thomas Leonard set up Coach University in America. And that's when most people first started calling them life coaches. And actually the first person that I actually heard and saw it on her CV in terms of who called herself a life coach was the very first time Iyanla Vanzant came to the UK. She sent her CV over to Tony Fairweather at the right thing. I was involved with Tony in bringing over Iyanla. And I saw, in fact, what she described herself as was a spiritual life coach. And it really, really resonated with me. So can I just check, how many other people in the room are coaches? Put your hands up. Yeah, great. Beryl? Anybody else? Thank you very much. How many other people consider that they have coaching potential inside of them? That should be everybody in the room. Yeah, that's supposed to be everybody in the room. Okay. And I want to say a little bit more. I want to say a little bit more about why I say that. Coaching is a very powerful communication system. Okay, I said, who has got coaching potential inside of them? Have you? Great, you got it, yeah? Coaching is a very powerful communication system. It's a really good way of communicating one-to-one and in groups and making a difference. So the whole coaching network or way of being has come up through very powerful communication skills, but doing it in a particular way. The reason I wrote Be Your Own Best Life Coach is because I actually do most of my coaching out in the corporate world. I work for many organisations. I go in, I coach senior managers, I coach leaders, I coach middle managers around their work, around their performance, around their lives. And actually, a very important part of at is coaching them around how they feel about themselves. What gets in the way of them being really productive, what they want to do more of, how they want to feel better about themselves. But I don't know if, has anyone here had coaching? For those who just roughly, how much did you pay for a session? Just give me a figure.
We got it through our place of work.
So you got it paid at work.
Yeah.
It was, you did pay for it. Does anybody pay for it? No one has paid for a coaching session yet. Okay. How much do you think, and hours? Have you paid for a coaching session? How much do you mind sharing with us?
I've had two different coaches. One point £50 an hour.
£50 an hour.
And business coaching £100 an hour.
£100 an hour. Okay, I'm really glad you said that last one. £100 an hour. Okay. How many people are up to paying someone £100 an hour to coach them?
Value for money.
Yeah.
Probably value.
One of the reasons I wrote Be Your Own Best Life Coach was because of my work in the business world and knowing how much coaching costs. I get paid £250, £300 an hour sometimes to work one-to-one with individuals. And the companies that I work for take some of that, and we as coaches get the rest. So I know that for a lot of people, coaching is not actually that accessible, even though it's talked about. It's not always that accessible in terms of what we have to pay for it. But in terms of the tools, it's a communication tool that everybody needs to have. So my idea was, I wanted to write a book that shared some of those tools so that it could become accessible to everybody. So I love this little strap line that I've got now. Now you can access the very best of life coaching. But guess what? Be Your Best Life Coach is not one of those books, and I had to give it to Ken. The iFactor is very good for his quotes. He says, is it self-education or is it shelf education? What do you do with your books?
Sure.
Be Your Own Best Life Coach has got 52 exercises in there, one for each week of the year. The book will do you no good if you don't do anything with it. I have got a room, in our home we've got a room full of books. And I can tell you that I read a lot. I'm a voracious reader. Anything to do with coaching, anything to do with self-development, I absolutely am committed to reading it. And I'm also committed to doing many of the exercises. And I have to tell you, I go back and read over books and redo exercises year after year after year. All these books in the world will not make a difference unless we engage with them. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah? So let me just ask you, what is the challenge for you about doing some of the exercises and some of the great books that you've got on your shelves? What gets in the way?
Time.
Well, we all talk to each other before you come in. Time. Yeah? Okay, so time is a big issue. Anything else? What else? Self-sabotage. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? So finding excuses. So you allow the excuses to come up first of all, and often what excuses do is they actually block us. They actually paralyze us. They can stop us from taking any action. A big part of being your best life coach, a big part of the coaching process is the part where you get to the end where you take the action. It is all about the action. It doesn't matter if the action doesn't give you what you want, because failing and stumbling is part of it. Ken wouldn't be here if he didn't fail, and hasn't failed loads and loads of times. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't failed loads and loads of times. So you've got to be willing to engage in the process, do things in order to get something back. Yeah? So just really notice what your beliefs, the messages, the conversations that you tell yourself, just really be aware of what those do to you. Okay? So we've got time, we've got self-sabotage in terms of our beliefs, what we say to ourselves. Oh Lord. Anybody here? Or is it just us? Yeah, is it just us? I know some of you not putting your hands up. Procrastination, it's the same thing. Let me tell you, in my first book, Soul Purpose, which I wrote in 1999, one of the biggest things I talk about in that was my ability to procrastinate.